Hello, everyone. Welcome to our channel. And today we have a very special guest with us, all the way from Georgia. And her name is Anna. As you can see, a very beautiful person just next to me. And we are just waiting to hear her voice and hear her story and Georgia's story. So let's begin. Okay. Welcome, Anna. Thanks for coming today.
Welcome. Really happy to be here today with you from my story, far away from Georgia. And I'm really proud that you heard about Georgia from me. For it was really big responsibility for me because the first person you meet from the country, I was like ambassador for you to meet the Georgian culture and everything. I
Definitely.
was trying my best to have a good impression on you.
Thanks, yeah. Really appreciate it. Actually, my viewers, they must be thinking that why Anna said that, but actually we met in Tokyo for the first time, and Anna was actually the very first Georgian person I ever met in my life, and she introduced a very beautiful culture, very beautiful country, and she's a very dynamic and very energetic person I've ever came across from Georgia. And I have this perception that Georgian people are really crazy and they love crazy stuff.
I
And at
hope
the
in a
same,
good way, in a good way, I hope.
of course, in a good way. And at the same time, they are the most loving people who loves to hang out, make friends, and really, meet a lot of new people. So before we start, Anna, can you just share more about your childhood days with us?
Sure, I was born in 1999. I never hide my age. I'm proud that I'm 31 and I survived everything Georgia happened during this time because when I was born in my country was happening actually civil war, really difficult situation and a new beginning with our independence. And actually me and my country's independence from Soviet Union, we have a same age.
Okay.
So at the same time, like all my life, I hear that things are settling down in Georgia, but still could not settle because freedom after Soviet Union was really difficult thing to have and still is. Nowadays, we also change a lot politically. And my childhood was also with this way. Sometimes light was gone, sometimes came in. So really big unstable situation around me, but somehow my family gave me like really good education, as good as possible in Georgia.
All your education was in English, or is it something standardized across Georgia that everyone has education in English? And what kind of education do you have in
It was like German school. We were that we studied so good German, and it was financed by German embassy. Like our school was called like German embassy school. We started physics at the age like fifth grade. Usually they started seventh or eighth grade. So we studied astronomy, math, and everything earlier than in average schools.
So you studied five languages, if I'm correct? Georgian, German, English, Russian,
Yes, and
and
plus
one
from
more.
fifth class, Japanese. From fifth class, I was studying Japanese
Wow.
because also Japanese embassy as well was financing us. But it was like you could choose Japanese. From my class, we were like only me and my friend who chose Japanese as well. Because everyone in my class, they made of fun of us that while you are studying Japanese, you will never have a possibility to go to Japan. It's really far, it's very expensive. And from dark times of Georgia, it was really difficult to believe that one day someone will go to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
But in 2019, my dream came true, childhood dream. That's why I believe all the childhood dreams. One day it come true for sure.
That's true. Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. So you did your schooling in Georgia. So what was the history that you were studying?
Georgian history and the world history as well.
Mhm. So tell us more about the Georgian history, the Georgian culture.
So geographically, we are a crossroad country. It's a
Mm,
crossroad between Asia and Europe. That's
mm,
what makes Georgia special because it's like really conservative country, really Asian, but also you can feel the European style in many different directions.
okay.
For example, when I travel in Europe, I see how many connections I have Europe with the European people, but also Asia's influence is really also really hard on us. Like in family, in traditional Georgian family, the main person is a man who brings food, money, everything, and woman prepares food and like more home style to settle roughly the difference.
Mm,
I mean, with that. For example, also if I speak, for example, with a bigger influence, for example, if you come in Tbilisi and you see the architecture, you see we have like German architects as well, and we have like really great buildings and German influence, and we have also Asian influence. In Old Town, you can see mechets, like synagogues, many different religious buildings and architecture as well, like both are
okay.
together.
So what is the major religion influence in Georgia?
Christianity, Orthodox. We are like
Okay.
Christians, Orthodox.
So recently, one of the foreign minister from India, he got the very pious relics all the way from India to Georgia of a very important person, and I
Yes,
think it was quite famous.
Ketevan. It's called Queen Ketevan. Yes, specific.
No worries, no worries. So Anna, like you traveled a couple of European countries, right? And you
Yes,
worked with the European culture.
yes.
So can you share that experience of the work culture of Europe and how was the experience over there and how was it different from the Georgian work culture and the Georgia overall as a country?
Yeah, for example, first country I lived in, it's like more Lithuania, it's more Baltic country, it's still Eastern Europe. And the first difference I saw there people were in Europe, they are living for themselves much more than what people will think about you.
Mm, mm,
And the youngsters were traveling more than having cars. For example, as long as you are here 18, everyone is trying, like most people are trying to have good cars in Georgia to settle down soon, to get married soon. And in Europe, for example, in Lithuania as well, I saw that everyone was trying as soon they are like younger to travel more, to see more, to experience more, to I don't know how to have their own impression about life.
can you just share more about the Georgian culture in terms of food, in terms of how you dress up, and in terms of the cultural influence that you have in your personality and the overall national personality, I would say?
We like to have guests. Like guest is really welcome. And Christian culture also gave it big hint because everyone is saying that you should treat every guest like Christ came to you as a guest.
To me, it sounds that Georgia is a very compassionate country, has loving people. They they're very cultured, they love dancing, and they love to enjoy life. That's what I can understand from your words. And that's what I understand from your personality also when I saw you in Japan. And I can totally say that Georgia is a country that is a must to visit. I mean, it's a must to have once a lifetime experience over there.
Yeah, because
Culture sounds really compassionate and a culture full of dance, music. and where they really love to enjoy life rather than just focus on making money. And they
Yeah,
are very
exactly.
cultured people.
I don't know if it's good or well, but it's like that. We are more coordinated about today, to have friends, to feel love, energy, and friendship from other people, then build some empires, or I don't know how to say, better future for tomorrow. Like we are more
Mm.
concentrated for today. And for example, we have our own language, writing, alphabet, and inside Georgia there are like other languages, dialects as well,
Wow, wow.
like Megrelian, Svanetian, Ossetian, Abkhazian. For
When you
different.
shared about the guest thing, it sounded really like Indian culture, because in India we have a saying "Atithi Deva Bhava," which means that we treat the guest as a god. And you share the same
Yeah,
concept that in Georgia you treat the guest as if Jesus Christ is coming to the house, and it's
yeah,
a great way of expressing one's love towards guests, I would say. About the drinking culture, I remember last time you shared with me that in Georgia the drinking
yeah,
culture is quite strong, and
yeah.
in
Because
fact there's a very interesting fact regarding the grooms. Whenever there's a groom comes into the family, they test the person's capacity or something. So can you just share more about that?
it's like more old way. I hope now it's not happening too much. But it's like we have a tradition of Supra where when people are gathering together, sit around the table, it's called Supra. And we are not just sitting and eating, but we have a one person who we honor the most, the way he speaks, the way he educates. Usually it's a man, but nowadays already started to be women as well. I
Okay.
also been few times, and I'm
Wow.
proud of. It's
Wow.
called Tamada, the head of the Supra, and
Hmm.
the Tamada is like saying the toasts
Hmm.
and gives the Supra direction. First thing, a groom is tested or another boy is tested, how capacity of drinking and saying toast
Yeah.
at the same time. If you
Yeah.
just drink and then you will lose all your mind, it means it's like not so well. It speaks not so well about you. Because we
Okay.
say that drunk person is most honest person. And you
Hmm.
feel still can control yourself when you are drunk and still have new ideas about toasts, then you are like
Strong man.
great guy, strong, independent guy.
Okay. It really also reminds you of the Japanese culture. So, Japanese, they have this culture of
Yeah.
nomi hodai. And usually in the corporates, on every Friday, they go for drinks. And all the bosses, the juniors, they go for the drinks together. And usually what happens, decisions made during the drinking time. Major decisions are made somehow during the Nomi Hodai time, where the bosses, they discuss about the promotions. At times, they also discuss about different business decisions, and also sometimes they share a lot of business secrets with the juniors, where they know whether they will get promoted or not, and what is their point of view, and how does the boss thinks about the juniors and about the team, and blah 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 blah. So it really sounds like that they try to test the guy, if the guy gets mad, if he's right to get married to the daughter or not, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
because
how,
it gives like drink gives it more, how to say, you cannot, sometimes you don't know what you will share, when you
hmm,
are
hmm, hmm,
drunk,
hmm.
maybe not
Yes,
too, yeah,
because when you're drunk, like people cannot keep their thoughts. They start expressing those thoughts, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I hope even in our day-to-day lives,
Oh,
we live honestly.
sorry.
Okay, so Anna, like, how about your history of traveling, your history of work? So, what was, sorry, let me rephrase the question. So, what did you study in your undergrad major, and what was your
In
educational
bachelor's
background?
degree, you mean, right?
Yes,
After school,
yes.
after school I started as every like most people in Georgia when back in when I started when I finished my school, it was like 2009. So around me, most people were choosing to be a lawyers or economic and business because it was like we are developing country and there was a boom of economic and business. Or yeah, these two options I remember, and medicine for sure, like three most popular options were that time. And
Mm,
for me it was like in that time I wanted to explore myself more, but
mm,
in Georgia it was not possible to say my family after graduating school well and have this German language diploma and private school and time and money they invested in me. I could not say that I don't want no more education. I
mm,
knew that I should continue
mm,
for sure. And I decided to continue with summer house. We had like old neighbor and I was asking her a lot of questions. For example, what was the biggest disappointment for her? What made her happy? And I was just 5 years old, imagine. And I had such a conversation. I was speaking with my grandparents a lot. How was the Soviet Union? How was their young times? I like this kind of deep conversations a lot. And I
mm,
thought that this was more meaningful for me than counting other people's money. Somehow I understood that if I would work in some big company and be businesswoman, for example, I don't know. To think about it, it gave me a big depression. When I finished my first grade, I really had a really big depression because I understood that after 20 years or 30 years, I would be like maybe with some money, but totally unhappy with what I was doing. So I decided to change to psychology. And with the psychology, I felt also student that I found my people because there I was sitting always mostly in a back branch, and I was just observing people and they were speaking and they were asking such a questions what I was also interested in.
mm,
And it was such a big relief because with economic and business with the students I also don't had too much connection because they were like, I don't know how to say, much more concentrated how they will finish soon, start work, how much salary they will have, and I was not somehow interested in that. I had more deeper questions. What will make me happy? How will I explore myself?
mm,
How will be everything? And there in psychology faculty, I found around me people who were interested in same stuff as I was interested
mm,
in to
mm.
make our education better for everyone.
So,
I
you found your
changed to,
happiness?
yes, for sure, in education psychology, because for me, I think if you want to change something,
Mm,
um, you cannot teach anyone anything. You just should give them space where they can think and ask
mm,
a lot of questions.
mm, mm,
And at university, first degree, for me, it was so depressing, not only because of economic and business, but also the style they were teaching us. For
mm,
example, there were books, they are telling you, you should read this and tell me there everything what's written. We don't need your opinion.
mm,
And for me, it was like shock. I am
mm,
18 and no one is interested in my opinion. Everyone is just asking me to write, to say what's written in a book.
mm,
And
mm,
then in
mm, mm,
psychology, everyone were asking, what I analyzed when I met one German girl who told me that when she was 18, government give her money 1 year to have a 1 year gap year to understand what she wants to study. And for me, it was like amazing thing to know about it. In Georgia, even now, it's not possible someone to have a gap year and for that government pay you to explore yourself. For example, as a school psychologist, as a small researcher, even though this small research is small, and this small research I'm doing is like already 3 years for now, but I'm step by step, I'm trying to do my best.
I mean, you're doing great work here. Every effort counts, and impacting the lives of kids, it's a huge impact because you're somehow shaping beautiful lives of the country, and they are the ones who go ahead and further build the country. And all the things that you shared, it somehow really boils down one thing which really reconnects to my university logo. They have this logo that for what purpose one should cultivate wisdom. May you always ask yourself this question. And I feel you're doing the exactly same thing through your work, that you're really trying to push the parents, you're really trying to push the teachers, you're really trying to push the kids towards asking that particular question in order to seek what is best for them, in order to pursue which gives them their real happiness, which you found for yourself in psychology and education, right?
And for me as well, because the psychology has no purpose without other people. When you are happy, you need much more sharing than when you are unhappy. Like in both ways, you need sharing and this sparkle, to bring the sparkle to other people as well. We all are social, right? And no matter we are extroverts, introverts, or how we describe ourselves, we all need connection. We all need sparkle in our life. And you cannot say that now I'm happy, I will sit here and I will happy all life long, right?
So in your research, what do you think the social media, the pandemic, everything going towards online has an impact on the psychology of the people?
I think that, for example, before COVID-19, everyone was against computer games, for example. And in psychological guidelines as well, if you could read about gaming, you could read from psychological side more negative information than positive. And after COVID-19, people understood that balance of online and offline life is very important. To have a hobby, walking in the street and play games as well, video games, it's totally well if it's balanced, And for example, video games, it's not only negative, because with new researches, data show us that it had very good influence on people who were playing games. They adjusted COVID situation much better, and it helped their cognitive flexibility much more.
What is the reason for depression?
Reason, there are like many different reasons, like very personal. How many people are in the world? There are like, every person has their own story of depression. But the mostly in 21st century, like overall reason is that we have now much more information to process every day. We are getting too much information, and it's, for our brain, it's very difficult to digest everything. And we are just learning how to filter this information. I think next generations will know better how to filter the information than us, because, for example, our fathers and mother generation, they were craving for information. They were sitting in the libraries and trying to reading the newspaper and trying their best to reach some information. And now we need nothing to read information, very opposite. Like, we should be careful which page like or not like, not to have too much unnecessary information. So how to filter the information.
So what you would like to share with someone who wants to visit Georgia as a tourist?
As a tourist, I want to share that be ready to see in one day mountains and sea as well. Don't forget your bodysuit, your swimming suit, but hiking stuff as well. Sure, because you can do nothing. Every time we make one step, that's Europe, that's development, that's education, they are literally bombing us. Okay. What's happening now in Ukraine? Now Ukraine is punished because of their own, they choose Europe and they choose European way and not Russian. Because they choose development and they want better education. And now, like strong father, Russia is punishing Ukraine. Russia punished us in 2008.
How?
As well. There were falling bombs. In Georgia as well, there was war. But only 8 days, because we are a small country and we don't had strong arms, like we are not big territory. That's why Georgian war ended up slow, really fast.
Putin came into the power with this perspective that he wants development for Russia, isn't it?
Development of Russia, right? Yeah, development is like very tricky word, you know? All the dictators are starting with that to develop their country. Nobody is telling that I came here for my own power. I came for you to change your lives, to make you feel better. I'm not thinking about myself. But suddenly it appears that the propaganda is saying to people that in Russia that Europe is very bad. There are, I don't know how, everything only bad things happening there, but somehow all the Russian politicians, they have houses there, and all their kids are having education in Europe. Then if it's so bad, why they are going there and why they are having education there and not in Russia?
America helps in terms of Georgia's development, Georgia's growth, and in terms of defending from Russia.
Yes, for sure, in many different ways. For example, there are a lot of educational programs. There are like a lot of good things happening in terms of education, society much more.
Okay.
That we were strong and independent, helping now, for example, we want to integrate into Europe, but we don't have working standards. For example, how many hours every person should work, and like human rights. Our most weak side is human rights. And in terms of human rights as well, they are helping a lot, but they are trying to be independent, like, independent. For example, they are not telling us what to do, but they are teaching us how to be independent, you know, strengthening us. But Russia wants us to believe that America will take our personality, take our culture, and we will be under the influence of USA. But in fact, for example, when, for example, old churches are ruining because it needs special restoration, or when museums need new stuff and everything, it's everything with American or European money happening, to save our culture. And how it's possible someone is helping you to have a museum, or that your old church looked the same way as it was before? It's called ruining your culture. How it's possible? And Russia is literally ruining our culture, falling with the bombs. But because they are also Orthodox, they are using this for propaganda. Like in Ukraine. Ukraine also Christian country, but they are bombing Christian cathedrals and churches, and so many monks died during this war. They know that there is some church and they are still bombing. How it's possible to say that we are the same religion and we should help each other and then bomb?
What is the next 20 years or 30 years for Georgia?
We should start developing much more winemaking. It's good that we have a big tradition of winemaking, but we should learn how to do proper wine, more and more. And more produce our own healthy products more, because we don't have any other chance. We don't have big factories or something else. And being dependent only on tourists, the pandemic also in terms of country showed that we cannot be dependent only on a tourist, right? One day it can be in danger. And for example, in mountains during COVID, because I could not leave the country, I was traveling a lot in mountains. And for example, in Svaneti, it's one of the most, most famous place to go to visit for foreigners and Georgians as well, because it's really beautiful mountains. There I spoke people, and everyone stopped to have most people stopped to have their own products and stopped to have cows and animals at home, because they sold everything. They stopped doing this because they have so much tourists and all the money they had from tourists. And then when everything stopped, they left without any money. And I think we should start much more developing our countryside, because I think Georgia's power is in agronomy, because we are rich with water, and we should study much seriously agriculture, and develop this way. I want to see in my country more winemakers who are educated better, and not only telling stories that we have such a big tradition. Yes, we have big tradition, but now we should start develop the modern techniques with with the old one, and be Europe to go on.
Hope through your research, you not only contribute through psychology, but also through other various means too.
Thank you so much. I'm trying my best.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's really depressing to see people how satisfied they are with their culture and tradition, and not moving forward. I'm also very proud, me, but somehow I wanted to speak today about nowadays problems and nowadays situation, then about telling the history. I could write down all the meaningful data from a history book, right? Before preparing your podcast. and show people how much I know, my own history and everything. But somehow I decided that it's better to speak natural and about nowadays problems and everything than just be happy about past, you know?
Yeah,
Because if nowadays agriculture will die and it will not survive, I want that our future was, I don't know how to say, with an honor, you know, and that modern Georgian person was happy and with right money. I don't know how to explain with the right money. Not, for example, one day I will work somewhere and have money, but something what makes their new generation proud as well.
I understood. So basically, you're trying to convey that, of course, I want the culture. Of course, I want that we keep our practices. But at the same time, I want that we also grow with those practices, with those culture.
Exactly.
We should not be satisfied with what we have. Otherwise, we may become lazy and we would become latent in terms of our growth. As a humans, we should strive to be
Exactly.
better, and that's why you want that when the future generations they come, they are born in Georgia, they feel proud that what our ancestors did for this country. And you want to be that one ancestor who really contributes to the future generation, which I can see in your work and your eyes and through your actions.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's really big words for me. I cannot accept it fully, but I hope it will be so. I'm doing my best for that. Because somehow I feel that it's no time for Georgia now to be satisfied with themselves. It's time to work hard and bring new attitude.
It's really very important that we grow and we should not be satisfied with what we have. Of course, we should be satisfied, but at the same time, we should also strive for
We
the
should be just
excellency.
glad, you know, just glad and grateful what we have, but not like satisfied and dive into this satisfaction. No, I just remember when I first time when I began to speak to you about education. For some people, when I speak about education, it's like unrealistic and very ideal. And when I spoke to you, I remember that you understood what I was telling, and that you want the same to bring to India. And I saw that you are now in Japan. You are successful and example for many Indian youngsters that you are living in Japan, but how you spoke that you want to be a teacher in India. And this is amazing that you are not, what I am telling, not only seeing yourself there in Japan, what's the best for you, but you want to bring it to your country and share it with them as well.
Yes,
and I
yes.
hope that you will do that for sure, with a bigger power and with bigger possibilities.
Yes.
What
Yes.
you will gather in Japan.
Thank you. Thanks, Anna. Really appreciate it. Yes, let's both of us work hard and do our best for our countries.
And for ourselves as well.
Yes, and for ourselves as well.
It's the same thing sometimes, you know.
Yes, yes. So, okay, thank you so much, Anna, for coming today. And I really, really appreciate your time all the way from Georgia. You sat, you gave us your precious time. And I hope
Thank
our
you so much.
viewers really enjoy this. If you enjoyed the conversation, please like and subscribe the channel. And all the viewers who listen till now, I really appreciate all your time and I really appreciate that you listened our story. And I hope everyone enjoys the Georgia. And I must say that you must visit Georgia once because Georgia is a country full of love and all the crazy stuff. So thank you guys. Keep watching
you.
and enjoy. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.